Today we're going to take a look at a knife called the EZC, which stands for Easy Carry. It's kind of a little play on words, EZC. Stay tuned to the end of this video and find out how, for absolutely no charge or cost, you could win this very knife or some other stuff. So this is made by a company called Monterey Knives. I don't know if you can see it. There's a maker's mark right there. It's pretty cool looking. Actually, here, I'll give you a way better look. Oh, there you go. Monterey Bay Knives is a company that was founded by a guy named Sanford Owen and another guy named Ray Laconico, whose last name took me an incredibly long time to memorize. Ray designed the EZC and Sanford helped him produce it, and then they teamed up with Kaiser, who mass produces knives, and went through several versions until they settled on a version that they thought was, what they were looking for. That's a little bit of history about Monterey Bay Knives and those two fellas. So let's go over to the bench and I will run you through its specs and its features. So we'll check it out. So this is how the knife ships. They really went above and beyond on the packaging on this. So you get this box, right? Nice kind of matte black finish, and then this slides off, and you get this little kind of coffin-shaped box that's held together by magnets. You got this little sleeve that inside has a polishing cloth. Get this. You know what? Okay, I don't have any headspace. Does this feel weird? Does this feel like I'm talking down to you guys? I see a lot of people complaining about that on YouTube. I feel like this reviewer is talking down to me, so you know what? Oh God, tripod is heavy. Let me bring you up a little bit. Quality content, well prepared. Way to go, Dave. That's better. So they give you this polishing cloth, goes in here. And then inside, you get this really handsomely made little ballistic nylon pouch with their logo on it. And you get a nice soft felt interior in the pouch. So onto the knife itself, titanium handles, titanium backspacer, titanium pocket clip, the blade itself. You have the designer, Ray Laconico, his name's across the spine right there. The blade is S35VN, even though they don't have it on there. That's something I kind of like to have because later on, if you collect a whole lot of knives, you kind of forget which ones are which steel, and like if you just look, I think that's one thing that a knife should have on it. You got this nice fuller. It adds a little bit of extra purchase right there for when you deploy it. I don't know, just extra grip, and it is, echoed on the pocket clip, which is cool. Blade comes pretty wicked sharp. Yeah, I'm sure you could get it sharper if you wanted to, but it's good for, I think, all-around purpose use. There is a steel insert in the end of the because this is titanium and then steel, and if that titanium was going up against steel, the metals have different properties, and you're going to have a problem where the titanium is going to start kind of getting jacked up by the steel, but they have a little steel insert that screws in by this screw, which is also your over travel. So if you look in there, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a little tiny kind of like disc-shaped piece of steel right there, and what that does is it keeps the lock bar from overextending this way, right? So I can't physically push further than this. There's a piece that's milled out right here, and that gives the spring to the lock bar. And if they didn't have that over travel, you could end up warping this way out here, and then it wouldn't come back down, and you could eventually end up snapping this off and all sorts of bad stuff. So an over travel is incredibly important in a frame lock, and they have one right there. You got your lanyard hole if you're a lanyard person. The knife has a very solid feel to it. It feels like you're holding almost like a solid block of metal. Totally deployed open. So let's say from the tip of the knife right there, you're right shy of 7. The blade itself is slightly shy of 3, and the handle right around 4. So you got 3, 4, 7 total. Oh, one more thing I really like on here is there's this little scalloped out area right here on the lock bar and the frame. And it really helps you get your thumb in there to close it one-handed, or however you want to close it if you're using 2 hands, but it really helps your thumb meat get a purchase on this bar right here, like a huge amount. If you do it down here where it's not, it's a pain. That makes a huge difference. That's a great sign of quality in a knife like that. It's got a really smooth action. It's really, what? Well, okay, fine. All right, I'm moving. Get out of here. All right, so I'm alternate reality, Dave. We're gonna do the undone today. I've never done this before. We're actually gonna do 2 reviews, a review in a review. The folks over at a company called KPL sent me these 2 little bottles. KPL stands for Knife Pivot Lube. They make lubricant specifically designed for knives, and I thought, what better way to test this lubricant than to use it on this knife? So the EZC has ceramic bearings. It has cage bearings in here. It opens super clean, but I wanted to try it with this and see what happens. So they make 2 strengths of lubricant. Standard is more for your pivot and moving parts of the knife. The heavy is made more for your detent ball, so it has a really high level of stickiness to it. So if you have a detent ball that's scratchy, not that this knife is, but you you get some knives occasionally where the detent feels a little bit like crunchy. So let's do a little bit of operation table on the workbench. So I'm gonna use the standard, and one thing I like that they have on here, they got a safety cap so your kids don't drink this. And there's a reason why they might, because it smells fantastic. You get a little metal applicator tube on there, which I thought was super cool. Like, that's a great idea. One, it keeps, I mean, this looks shiny because the plastic is shiny, but it's dry. So it keeps you from making a mess, and it puts the lubricant exactly where you want it. Close this up, and we're gonna go for the pivot right in here. Spritz a little in there. Maybe go from the back, maybe a little bit from this side. Hey, cut it out. It's the mailman. Zombie's natural enemy is the mailman. You hate the mailman, huh, buddy? Man, I don't know why he brings us cool stuff. He brought us this stuff, man. Stop biting the hand that feeds you. Yeah, so I can feel that working in there. Definitely added a little bit of extra smoothness than the factory oil, which isn't bad, but you know, if you want to kick it up a notch. And then, hey, well, here, let's just try it with this. Woo. Yeah, I can feel that overriding the detent, and it just glides to the open position. Yeah, that the home position, the lock position, really, wow. It feels like a really nice pair of surgical scissors. I don't know if you ever like trauma shears, like a really nice pair of trauma shears, the way they kind of like glide against each other. It feels really good. For fun, we'll throw some of the heavy stuff on the detent and see if that makes a difference. So I don't know how I'm gonna get to that. Let's see where the detent is. Oh man, this stuff is thick. Yeah, that applicator really helps. No, you don't have to use a toothpick or like a, you know, a Q-tip. Ooh, yeah, I can feel that. I can feel, wow, it feels like the detent ball is now a bearing as well, like how the bearing is. So yeah, just two little drop. Woo, man. I'm guessing you can probably see this in the video, but yeah, man. If you're a knife person, check these guys out. KPL, they sent me 2 little bottles of this to try out, and it's no joke. That's pretty nice. And as I said before, stick around for the end and you can find out how you can win a bottle for free. All right, I'm leaving. Man, everybody wants to show you how to do your stuff, man. Everybody wants to take over your YouTube channel. So he threw some lube on here. Let's see how it goes. Woo. It makes an already fantastic knife even more fantastic. It's got a very glidey feel, like it quiets it a little bit, like not the lock bar slamming home, but the slide of the metal, the bearings on the blade. It has a very scissory kind of sound to it, like a nice pair of scissors. That's what I said. We'll head back over to the table and do our kind of final thoughts. What I really like, the design is fantastic. The design is amazing. I really like the S35 VN in titanium. You really couldn't, you know, ask for more. That's pretty much cream of the crop. Some people don't like how titanium looks once it's been bonked around for a while. I actually really like it. I like it when you have titanium that's been scratched up by, like, you know, a house key or whatever. It gets this very, really interesting kind of seasoned look titanium over time. I think it's cool. If you're into anodizing, you could anodize the bejeepers out of this knife. No eyes if you did. I'm Cyclops, Optic Blast. That's a joke for the X-Men fighting game crowd. There's probably 3 of you on my channel, so they got it. Yeah, you could make that handle a bronze color right there and make the pocket clip match, or you could do like blue and bronze. I really like the pivot. It is a something star shaped in the middle. It reminds me of something. I can't think of what it reminds me of. That being said, all joking aside, if you guys put out a pivot that was colored in the Captain America colors, I would buy that in a heartbeat. So my cons, for me personally, size. So at a blade of just under 3 inches and a handle of 4, you're right around 7 inches total. If you work in like a cubicle setting, if you work in like an office, or you just like smaller knives, like my daily carry is usually the ZT-0620, and if we get both of these out, you're losing about 1 inch on there of cutting edge, and then handle size. I just like something that I can get my hand around. I get plenty of people that I hand this knife to, and they're like, there's no way I could carry that, that's too big. Like, I don't need a knife that large. And that's totally fine, you know, to each their own. I do wish there was a little bit more traction on here. Some jimping on the finger flipper would be nice, maybe on the butt end back here, so if you reverse carried it, you could get a little bit more traction. Along with size, something for me that made this a little bit tricky is that because it is a frame lock, if you put your fingers on that frame lock as you go to deploy, you're gonna increase the detent tremendously, right? So if your fingers are pushing down, which happened a couple times when I handed this knife to other people, they would, and if they're not familiar, if it's someone who's not familiar with carrying a frame lock, this will happen. And it's not just with this knife either. Like, this knife would do the same thing, and it's much larger. If you put your hand on the frame and the lock bar, as you go to open it, you're pushing that detent ball into the blade, and it makes it like I can't deploy it right now. I can't. It feels like there's a safety on here. On a larger knife, you have a little bit more room. Like, it's very easy to put your fingers down on the pocket clip and then deploy it. So the first time I opened this knife, like right out of the box, I expected it to snap open. I'd seen a couple other reviews and seen how snappy it was, and it still caught me by surprise. Like I still did like a little jump because I was just like, dang, it's very like switchbladey, lightsabery, like it flies out fast. The geometry of the flipper is a great shape. It's not too short, not too long. Overall for the money, it's about 180 bucks, which is I think in line with the materials on here. So you're getting S35V, which is a super steel that was specifically designed for knives. A little tricky to sharpen, but the benefit of that is they stay sharp for a really long time. I think you're getting a good deal if this is the format of knife you're looking for. If I had to give an equation for what I thought, or a comparison, I would say this knife to me feels like a very nicely designed European sedan. The guy that's into that would be into this. Like it a lot. I think they did a great job. Oh, and if you like it, you can either buy it from them, so I think they have it for sale on their site, but if you want this specific knife, I'm doing a giveaway, and here are the prerequisites, right? You gotta be over 18, because if you're under 18, I don't know the legalities of every single state, but then I gotta have you prove what state you live in, so I'm just making it easier for me. You have to be a subscriber, leave a comment in the comment section, and you have to like this video. In a week, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna randomly choose someone out of the comment section who's a subscriber, and make sure you have your like subscribers visible thing turned on, or I can't see, and then you ain't winning nothing. I'm giving these two away as well from Alternate Reality Dave. It's the KPL. I'm gonna give one person the standard and one person the heavy knife lubricants, which I really liked, and they smell great. I actually went onto their webpage and was reading their frequently asked questions, and one of their questions was, why does it smell so good? And they actually add some kind of natural oils to make it smell super good, and it does it. To me, it smelled like apple pie and cloves. I don't recommend tasting it because it will make your tongue numb for about an hour, and I definitely didn't do that. I did do that. I like it. It has a very more, I'm trying to think of the word. It almost feels like more like a motor oil. What's that word? The viscosity. Oh, I thought I was gonna end the review and totally not be able to remember it. Same rules as this one, just to make it easy on me. If you're not over 18 and you have like parents that have a YouTube channel, have them like, subscribe, and comment. And if they win it, then you get it, I guess, as long as they want to give it to you. If you do win this, be responsible. No stabbing anybody. As with all sharp, pointy things, be cool to people unless they're not being cool to you, and then you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Stab them. And in a week, I'm gonna pick someone and it's yours for free, as my way of saying thank you for watching my stuff, watching me ramble. And yeah, and then someone else will get one of these, and someone else will get one of these, and bam. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next review. All right, see you later.